Today I'll show you how to take the pulse of your pond water. Measuring won't change your water, but it can show you a way to get better water quality and better nature around. Think of it as a health check. First thing to measure is water clarity with a Secchi disc. Lower the disc down in the water till it just disappears. Then you have your Secchi Dip in meters. Now let's try to measure the Secchi Dip. Lower the disc down in the water. This is 1 meter. And now we have 2 meters. Now the disc's about to disappear. It happens just about 3 meters. 3 meters. When you have the Secchi Dip, you can find your pond health in this table. It's called trophic state or TSI. The more nutrients, the more algae, and the lower Secchi Dip. Think of TSI like BMI in humans. BMI tells us if we are underweight, normal, overweight, or obese. For this we measure our weight and our height. TSI tells us if the lake is poor, moderate, nutrient-rich, or over-fertilized. Here we measure water clarity with the Secchi disc. So BMI and TSI, they both tell us about health. Most Danish lakes are eutrophic, with Secchi Dip 1 to 4 meter. A few lakes are mesotrophic, with Secchi Dip 4 to 8 meter. If less than 1 meter, the lake is polluted, over-fertilized, hypertrophic. We have to measure Secchi Dip in summer. In winter, water is more clear, usually double, but it's the summer value that counts as a health check. When you have your Secchi Dip, then you can find phosphorus and nitrogen in the TSI table. Better than to actually measure them. Chemistry is tricky. The meters and chemicals are expensive, and you need training and experience to make them work. No need for that. The Secchi disc is simple, and it tells the truth. Second step is to look for water plants. Plants can clear your water to Secchi Dip 2 and even 4 meters. To check for plants, we use a line with a hook. Throw it out on the bottom and see what gets hooked. Now let's try if we can hook something. Well, now here we have a catch. It's water moss. And in good health with fine green shoots. Third step is to find out how deep is the pond. We need to know to calculate how much water in cubic meters. From a boat, we can measure with a weighted line. If we are at shore and need to know how deep water is somewhere out, we can use an iron knot a string and a cork. Set the cork to 2 meters and throw it out. If it's deeper, it's pulled under, and if it's shallower, it floats. Adjust the cork till it just fits. Sometimes people have told me their pond goes from 0 at shore to bottomless a bit out. When I try with my knot, string and cork, it says 1 or 2 meters. Last step is to look for inflow and pollution. Pollution usually enters with inflow water. So take a walk around the pond and look for inflow and outflow. If you find an outflow, be sure somewhere there is also an inflow. Here are some common sources of nutrients to lakes and ponds. The biggest sources mostly are sewage, field drains, and feeding fish or ducks. I've marked these with red dots. Finding pollution can be some detective work. Years ago, wastewater from houses was poured into the nearest lake. This we regarded as a common good. We even wrote it into our law. The purpose of streams is to receive wastewater. And streams, they flow into lakes. The pollution ends up in mud at the bottom and stays there 100 years. So even if no pollution today, the lake stays polluted. To get back to Secchi Dip, it tells the truth. Less than 1 meter, the lake is polluted, even if people say there is no pollution today. Here are measurements I took from my crayfish lake. It's a gravel pit with no inflows or outflows. It lies in a valley of underground gravel. Groundwater flows here. It receives some of the fertilizer leached from farmland and also some nutrients leached from an old landfill. No pollution I can stop. My only option is my water plants to help clear my water. Here's a photo of my lake and water, taken with sun in my back so you can look down into the water, and a photo of the landscape around the lake. Such photos can tell something about pollution and nature. If there are good or bad plants in the lake or farmland close by with risk of slurry runoff in heavy rain. So now take your measurements. Secchi Dip. Look for plants. How deep is the pond? Walk around the pond and look for inflow and pollution. Take a photo of the pond and a photo of the landscape, and if you like, you can mail them to me. I'll gladly help you to see what you can do to get better water and nature around.